Welcome back. Good morning to our online sessions on fuzzy logic. In the last session, what we discussed, we just ended up our class with the various concepts which normally involves in the fuzzy logic. So we have got two kind of fuzzy logic senses. One is going to be narrow. Uh, one is going to be the narrow sense of fuzzy logic. Another one is going to be broad sense of fuzzy logic. In the case of the narrow sense of fuzzy logic, we normally going to get into the values with the exact results. In the case of broad sense, is normally going to cover range of theories and techniques, and its basic core techniques is based on the four basic concepts. And the four basic concepts, the broad sense fuzzy logic is normally going to have is going to be fuzzy sets, linguistic variables, possibility distribution, fuzzy if then rules. Okay, now in this uh, various concepts, first of all we start with the fuzzy sets. Okay, so here these four concepts we are going to cover, and all these four we have in the syllabus, so let us try to cover these four basic concepts. Now we discuss about this fuzzy set theory. Fuzzy set theory is little bit different with the classical set theory. The classical set theory has been used in the probability theory in terms of events. Whenever we have certain events to be defined, we always define the events in a set. Okay, similarly here we are going to have fuzzy set theory. The concept is a little bit different with the classical set theory. Let us discuss about how it is different here in the case of the fuzzy set theory. Okay, now here, now let's start going with the basic concept of fuzzy once again, before we just simply discuss about the fuzzy set. So we know the word fuzzy means vagueness, okay, or ambiguity. That is the basic meaning of fuzzy. Fuzzy means vagueness or ambiguity. So related to something like leads to uncertainty. Vagueness, ambiguity leads to what? Uncertainty. That means we are not going to sure about what exactly the result is normally going to be due to this particular vagueness, vague input. Ambiguity in the case of input does not really give you an exact output or a certain output. That is what we normally going to have fuzzy logic. So fuzziness occurs when the boundary of a piece of information is not clear. That means here the concept of fuzzy comes into picture when the input data boundary is not so clear. Then the fuzziness really comes into the picture. So this fuzzy logic has been first introduced in 1965 by Lotfi Jadeh as an extension of the classical set theory or classical notation of the set theory. So classical set theory allows the membership of the elements in the set in binary terms. Binary terms means what? It should give you a value, something like here once again we are going to discuss about a random variable, but extension to the random variable we're going to discuss in the fuzzy logic. So I mean to say that those who got an idea of a random variable, how a random variable is normally defined in a probability theory, if you really know it beforehand, then the concept which we discuss here in set theory is going to become pretty easy for us. Okay, at least you should know what is a random variable is and how a random variable is normally defined. Okay, if you know these two concepts, then we can just simply going to understand the fuzzy set very easily. Okay, so those who don't have a random variable concept, those who don't know the random variable concept, please go back to your random variable concept and try to understand more about random variable so that you can understand the fuzzy set in a very comfortable manner. Okay, but now I just go ahead by just specifying what is a random variable, and after that I just simply jump into the fuzzy set theory now. Okay, so let us assume that you already having some idea about a random variable. So fuzzy set theory permits membership function valued in the interval of 0 to 1. See here the fuzzy set theory values, that means the values which are going to be there in the set is going to vary between 0 and 1. In the case of random variable also, the values are going to vary between 0 and 1 only in the case of the classical set theory. In the case of fuzzy set theory also, the values in the set is going to vary between 0 and 1. But the difference lies in the case of classical set theory, the values which are going to be there in the set are always going to be there, are always belong to the universal set. Whereas coming to the fuzzy set, the values are not going to be part of the universal set. Means what? The classical set theory, the values which are going to be there in the set are going to have the clear cut boundaries, whereas the values in the set, the values in the set of a fuzzy logic are not going to have the clear cut boundaries. That is what the major difference between the set, fuzzy set and a classical set. Let us understand this in a more clear way in the next slides. So as an example, the words like young. So when I say young, what is the age limit to call it as an young? So for some kind of a people, 25 is the young age. For certain kinds of the people, 35 is the young age. That means for certain kinds of job, 25 is the young age. For certain kinds of jobs, 35 is the young age. For certain kinds of the job, 40 is the young age. For certain kinds of 28 years is the young age. That means what? The young is normally defined based on the context, based on situations. So there is no single quantitative value which defines the term young. So therefore, we cannot really make it a certain that this young is normally going to be those who got between 18 to 28 is young, or 20 to 21 is young, or 20 to 25 is young. There is no clear idea. That means it is totally uncertain. Young means it is uncertain, obviously, because the values are going to range between the boundaries, between certain values. Say 18 years to 40 years is the young age. So in between any age is going to be called as a young age. So like that, it is going to be give us a uncertain values. So therefore, the concept young has no clear boundary. Therefore, it is uncertain. The age 35 has some possibility of being young and usually depends on the context in which it is being considered. So it is all based on the context it is being considered. So if we take a government jobs only, central government job, one age limit, state government, another age limit, and some other kinds of jobs in state government and central government is going to have some other age limits. So the youngness depends on the context in which you are normally going to use. If all you wanted to apply in the army, when you want to go in the army, the age limit is going to be different. That means you should be definitely below 18 years of age. So if you are below 18 years of age, then only you are eligible to apply for the army. So therefore, the young defined there is going to be between say 12 years to 18 years is the young in the case of the army. So therefore, the young is normally differ from one context to another context. So this fuzzy set theory, as I was talking to you, is an extension of the classical set theory. Is the extension of the classical set theory where the elements have degree of membership. So this fuzzy set theory is an extension of the classical set theory where the elements have the degree of membership. This is what the important point here. So the elements of the fuzzy set is going to have degree of membership. So what is this degree of membership come? Why this degree of membership has come here? The degree of membership, that means the elements, the values which sit in the set theory are not going to have clear cut boundaries. That is what the difference here. Whereas if it is going to be a classical set theory, the elements in the classical set is going to have clear cut boundary. Means what? The classical set theory is always based on the universal set. Whatever elements that are going to sit in the classical set is always going to be there in the universal set. So whichever elements are not going to be the part of the universal set, they are not going to be the set in the classical set theory. Whereas in the case of fuzzy logic, that is not the case. That is what the difference here, which there comes the concept called vagueness. There comes the concept called uncertainty. So therefore, the elements in the fuzzy set need not be need not be from the universal set. There it increases the concept of vagueness. Okay. So in the real world, usually there exists much fuzzy knowledge. That means vagueness, uncertainty, inexact values are always going to be there in the real time world. So human thinking and reasoning frequently involved with fuzzy information. So this is what the reason why some of the people are going to deceive some other people, because the information is not so clear and the people are going to get deceived by other people because of this vague unknown information. They simply going to tell to you some other things which are which looks to be really very nice, very good. They simply fill up the gap with their own information. So therefore this is what one of the things which human thinking, human reasoning is going to be there. So that means what human thinking and reasoning involves lot many things like analysis, logic, interpretations. Many things are involved here to come into a final conclusion. So human thinking should come to a conclusion based on the basically logic, analysis, interpretations. So even though you make all these things, somewhere people are getting deceived because of this vague information, because of this fuzzy information. So this is what where the systems is really lacking here. So here we are unable to have a systems which is normally going to give us a useful value for such informations. So every system has to respond to the input signals. When the input signals are going to have clear boundaries, the system is going to give us a clear output. When the inputs are not going to have a clear boundaries, then the system is not going to really give us a proper response. So fuzzy systems, the systems which involves fuzzy logic, is going to give a reasonably good responses, even though the input is going to not clear. That means the input is going to be fuzzy. Then only, even then also the systems are going to give us a reasonably good responses. So human can give satisfactory answers which are probably true. Therefore we would say, even though we have analysis, even though we have analogies, even though we have logic, even though we have interpretations, people would usually say that probably this is going to be the result. With these results we can say that is what called a probability. Okay. So our systems are unable to answer many questions because of systems are designed based on classical set theory. This is what I was talking to you now. Our systems are unable to answer many questions because the systems are designed based upon the classical set theory. Classical set theory means what? The values which are going to be there in the set are totally based on the universal set. So if at all the value which is sit in the set is not belongs to universal set, that set is not at all taken as the input to the system. So now the problem comes here is that if at all the value coming to the input of the system is a valid value, but it is not there in the universal set, then the system cannot give a solution to that particular input. So there comes the fuzzy logic into the picture. So therefore, what is our objective now in fuzzy logic? We want our system should able to cope up with the unreliable and incomplete informations. So even though the input is totally unreliable and incomplete information, but still the system should cope up with these unreliable, incomplete input informations, and should give a reasonably good solution as the output. Now we always say the output of a fuzzy logic is not going to be 100% exact output, but it is going to be a more close output. That means since we say that it is more probable output. So therefore, fuzzy systems have been designed to provide solution to such systems. Okay. Now let us try to have a little bit comparison between the classical set theory and the fuzzy set theory before we exactly define the fuzzy set theory. Now, whatever points I now discussed, just now discussed, same points have been put over here in these two comparative statements. So here the classes of objects with sharp boundaries. Next one is coming to the fuzzy set theory. The classes of objects with unsharp boundaries. This is the difference, first difference which I was talking to you right now. The classes of objects with sharp boundary. That means what? In a classical set, the elements of a set should belong to the universal set. In the case of classical set theory, the elements of a set should belong to the universal set. If it belongs to the universal set, means what? They are going to have sharp boundaries. Whereas coming to the fuzzy set, the elements in the fuzzy set are not going to be from the universal set. Means what? The classes of objects with unsharp boundaries. That means the elements in the fuzzy set are not going to have sharp boundaries because they need not belong to the universal set. That is what the difference which you're going to find out here in the case of the fuzzy set theory. The next difference which you can have is what? A classical set is defined by the crisp boundaries. Once again, same story. Crisp boundaries means what? Exact boundaries. That means exact boundaries means what? Same story, universal set. The elements which are going to be there in the classical set should always be there in the universal set. That means exact boundaries. That is, there is no uncertainty about the location of the set boundaries. Uncertainty is not going to be there in the case of the classical set elements. Coming to the fuzzy logic, a fuzzy set is defined by its ambiguous boundaries. That means the boundaries of the elements in a fuzzy set are going to be ambiguous boundaries. That is, there exists uncertainty about the location of the set boundaries. Now, these systems, these classical set theorems, are widely used in the digital system design, whereas fuzzy set theory is normally used in the fuzzy controllers. Okay, so these are the basic comparative differences between the fuzzy set theory and the classical set theory. And another example we can just give it here, as in the case of the fuzzy set theory and the classical set theory, is an example is water colorless. So coming to, it's going to give us a crisp boundaries. That means either the answer is going to be yes, answer is going to be no. Now coming to the human qualities, take one of the quality of human being as a honesty. This honesty means what? What is the level of honesty the human being is going to have? Based on that, I can just say how far he is going to be honest. If the human being is, say, an example has taken as some name, Ram or Sham or you know, Shiva, Shankar, all these things. So I may take any name here. So fuzzy. So extremely honest. Extremely dishonest means what? Zero. That means the honesty level is zero if he is totally dishonest. Now a person is going to be honest at certain times. Then I can say zero point 0.4 is the honesty is going to have. And the person, if it is very honest, almost all times is going to be honest, and the percentage is going to be 0.8. Extremely honest, it is going to be 1. Now these values are going to be many. These values are going to be many. Between 0 and 1, you can have n number of values, infinite number of values. Based on the amount of degree of honesty you want to define, you can define these many values, and these many values cannot sit in the universal set. So that means all these logics comes under the fuzzy logic, obviously. Therefore, this fuzzy logic is going to have a comparison between fuzziness and crisp data. So classical set theory is always going to refer the exact values, whereas this fuzzy logic is normally going to refer to the uncertain values. That means the input to the system which uses classical set theory is going to have the certain values, whereas the input to the fuzzy systems is going to have a uncertain values. Now, in a classical set theory, how we define? Let us say there is a set A. Set A is going to have the elements A1, A2, A3, so on up to AN. So why is that I defined a small A1, A2, A3, so on up to AN? Why did not I define A, capital A is equal to B1, B2, B3, or C1, C2, C3, or something else? I defined only A. What is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is that these particular values, the elements of this particular set A should belong to A only. That is why I given this as A only. I should not write here capital A is equal to in the flower braces B1, B2, B3 or C1, C2, C3 or something else. I define only with the small A1, A2, A3 to it signify that these elements should be the elements of this particular set A only. That means describing whether a particular element having a certain property belongs to the particular set. That means these elements of this particular set A should belong to the property of A only. It should not belong to the property of something else. So if a set is going to define the group of dogs, that means only dogs element A. If at all you're going to make the cats to sit in the element, only cats should sit. So similar to that, the classical set theory is always going to give you the values like this. So therefore, I can say, how can we define a set? So the definition of set in the case of classical set theory is what now? A set is any well-defined collection of objects. What is the meaning of well-defined collection? If you make a collection of dogs, only dogs should sit in that particular set. The combination of dogs, cats, hens is not going to be called as a set for us. Okay, that is what called basically a set is. So it is going to be a well-defined collection of objects, and an object in a set is called as an element or a member of that set. If we take A1, A2 or A3, all these are known as objects in a set, is called as an element or a member of this particular set A. So sets are defined by simple statements like this. So describing whether a particular element having a certain property belongs to that particular set. It describes, that means what, the elements of a set should describe that these are going to become, or these are going to belong to this particular set A only. That is what called a classical set theory is going to really tell to us. So if the elements of A, such as 1, 2, 3, 4 up to n of set A are a subset of universal set X, this is what I was talking to you, universal set X, then set A can be represented for all the elements small x belongs to capital X by its characteristic function as something like this. Okay. So that means there is a universal set capital X. From this universal set capital X, I just simply take some of the elements of X, and from that elements of X, I define some event A. For this event A to happen, it is going to have certain members of the event, and if it is going to be a certain, then it is going to have value 1. If it is going to be a not certain, it is going to have value 0. A small x belongs to X, otherwise it is going to be 0 for us. This is how we define the probability of happening of an event on the classical set A. Okay, this is what the general probability case by defining with respect to the classical set. Now we'll try to go with the fuzzy set now. Now in the classical set, we defined about various operations, A union B. So for A union B to give a value, what is the condition in the classical set? Small x belongs to A or small x should belong to B. Either or is true, then this condition is going to be true. Coming to intersection, A intersection B, X should belong to A and X should belong to B. If both these two are true, then only it is going to give us a value X, which is going to be a member, or which is going to belong to the universal set capital X. And similarly, complement operations like this, we can define various operations on the classical set theory. Now coming to the fuzzy sets. So fuzzy set theory is an extension of the classical set theory. As I was talking to you, elements have varying degree of membership. This is what the difference here. The elements in the fuzzy set are going to have varying degree of membership. Whereas in the case of classical set, they are not going to have varying degree of membership. They are going to have predefined memberships. So a logic based on truth values. Now here, what values, what uncertain values can be there inside the set, fuzzy set? It is based on some logic based on the truth values. So true and false is sometimes insufficient when describing the human reasoning. So this is one more point. True and false exactly is not really insufficient to describe the context of the human reasoning. So fuzzy logic uses the whole interval between 0 and 1 to describe the human reasoning. Between 0 and 1, how many values we can provide? N number of values. So human reasoning results can be simply equated to any value between 0 and 1. So very important. So fuzzy set is a any set that allows its members to have different degree of membership, called membership functions. So here comes the term called membership function. We called this membership function as a random variable in the classical set theory. In a classical set theory, we have defined a random variable. What is a random variable? Random variable is known as a function which maps the descriptive value of the input to the real value data so that the system can able to really process this particular descriptive data of the input to the system. So similar to that, here we are defining a member function. So this member function is simply analogous to the random variable in the classical set theory. The only difference is here is that the members are a variables in the random variable is normally going to be part of the universal set, whereas here the members in the fuzzy set defined by the membership function may not be the part of the universal set. That is what the thing which we're going to have. Therefore we call it as a membership function. The membership function is normally going to provide us, or normally going to give us, a degree of membership elements, a degree of membership values, which is not going to be part of the universal set or defined boundaries. There is no sharp boundaries. Okay. So now fuzzy set is derived from fuzzy set theory. Fuzzy logic is derived from fuzzy set theory. So many degree of memberships are normally allowed. This is what we were talking continuously regarding the fuzzy sets. Between 0 and 1, many degree of memberships are allowed. Many degree of memberships are allowed between 0 and 1. So thus the membership function, say mu a of x, mu x of a is associated with the fuzzy sets A, such that the function maps every element of universe of discourse of x to the interval 0 and 1. So here this x is nothing but one of the one of the event which is going to happen from the universal events, and a is normally going to be taken as the subset in that. And how do we define that particular mapping function? Something like a random variable. So mu of x a is normally going to have x is normally going to, small x is normally going to give us a values between 0 and 1. And this, the values between 0 and 1 need not be from the universal set. If it is not from universal set, then this set is normally going to be called as a fuzzy set. These values, if they are going to belong to only universal set, then this set is going to be the classical set for us. That is only the difference here we have with respect to the classical set theory. So here the fuzzy logic is capable of handling inherently imprecise concepts. Once again, same thing, we are defining it in another way. The fuzzy logic is capable of handling inherently imprecise concepts. What do you mean by imprecise? Vague, inexact, rough, inaccurate concepts. That means we are not sure about the kind of input. There is a lot of confusion in the input. When there is a lot of confusion in the input, definitely there is a lot of ambiguity in the output. So in such context, we're going to use the fuzzy logic. So let us define the fuzzy set. Now, how do we define the fuzzy set? So the fuzzy set A I can define as equal to something like this. That means in the previous sessions we defined the random variable. In the classical set, the random variable A is equal to x comma x belong to x we defined. Remember? So where here one more membership function has come over here called mu A of x. Okay, so therefore this capital X is a universe of discourse. So this in the case of random variable, we define capital X as a universal set. Here we're defining it as a universe of discourse. This is what the difference we have just brought it here in the case of fuzzy sets. And small x is a particular element of X. Then a fuzzy set A defined on this X, defined on this X and can be written as a collection of ordered pairs. So this A can be written as equal to is going to have the small x, that means values it is going to have. All these values belongs to capital X, and which is the small x values are normally defined by the mapping function mu x of A as a mapping function. So this is how we define the element on the set theories. So let us look into the elements definition in a more broader sense. So let capital X is going to define G1, G2, G3, G4 and G5 be the reference sets of students. So let A be the fuzzy set of smart students, where smart is a fuzzy term. So smartness is defined by what now? Degree of the smartness, zero point 0.4, 0.51, 0.9, zero point 0.8. Therefore, I can define this A is going to be like G1, comma zero point 0.4, G2, comma zero point 0.5, G1, comma 1. All this 0.4, 0.5, 1, 0.9 is normally going to speak about the degree of membership functions. So this A tilt indicates the smartness of G1 is 0.4, smartness of G2 is 0.5, smartness of G4 is 0.9 and so on. So therefore this indicates the smartness, degree of the smartness. So now let us discuss about the membership function. Membership function, remember it is almost all same as the random function. So a function here is what now? A function is always going to map the descriptive values of the input to the real values of data. That is what basically a mapping function definition. So here also we're going to have a membership function. So a membership function defines the fuzzy set, obviously. The membership function provides a measure of degree of the similarity of the element of the fuzzy set. So it is also going to be called as a mapping function for us. So membership functions can be defined based on what? So membership function means what? Mapping function. We have to map the descriptive values of the input to the real values of data. So how the mapping is done? Based on two things. One is going to be either mapping can be either chosen by the user arbitrarily based on the user's experience, or designed by using the machine learning methods. Machine learning means what? AI design methods are chosen arbitrarily by the user by users experiences. So member function chosen by two users could be different depending upon their experiences, their perspectives and their other perceptions. And next is going to be membership function can be chosen or designed by using the machine learning methods known as the artificial neural networks, genetic algorithms, etc. Okay. Now there are different shapes of membership functions. Now the membership functions are defined in terms of signal processing, in terms of triangular, trapezoidal, Gaussian, and etc. So on and so forth. Now basic functions are going to be the triangular membership function. So now I can define this membership function as a triangular function. See here, triangular means what? There is a triangle here now. Now I can define the membership function as a triangular function. That means I have to fit my inputs with respect to the triangular function, with respect to trapezoidal function, with respect to the Gaussian function. So there should be certain rules and regulations before we normally give a values to the uncertain inputs. Okay, you should try to fit them into certain certain functions. Okay, so that it will be more close to the probabilistic solution, probable solution to the input data. So a triangular function, we already know a triangular function. A triangular membership function is defined by three parameters such as a, b, and c. By the parameters a, b, and c, where a, b, and c are going to be the x coordinates of three vertices of the function. This function is normally this the value that what is the function on x-axis. We take the value of the function, and x-axis is going to be the dependent value. So x is the independent parameter. Mu of x is going to be the dependent function, which is known as a membership function. It is defined by a fuzzy set A, where this A is going to be the lower boundary, C is going to be the upper boundary, whose membership degree is going to be taken as equal to 0. And B is nothing but the center where the membership degree is equal to 1. And we have to define the many values in this particular functionality. So one example here is by taking the limits, we can just say for all x less than or equal to a, the value of the function is 0, because there is no triangular limitations here. Therefore, the value is 0. When the value is lying between x lying between a and b, we're going to have a function. What is the function we're going to have? We write it like a uniform distribution function here, like as x minus a by b minus a. So in this, we're going to have the values here. The values is normally going to be there here. Then similarly, between b and c, what is the value between b and c? C minus x. C is the upper limit here. Therefore, upper limit minus lower limit is obviously x, but that x is not going to exceed c by c minus b. C minus b is this limit. Therefore, we normally going to get for all the values greater than c, we normally going to have this function. Thereby, we define the membership function like this. Based on this membership function, we normally going to map the real values of descriptive data to the real values of data. So this is how we normally going to define this triangular membership function. Similarly, we can define the trapezoidal membership function like this. Now we already know the trapezoidal function. What is the trapezoidal function? See, this is the trapezoidal function form now. Trapezoidal means what? You're going to have the straight lines here between 0 and this upper limit. There is a straight line, then it's going to be constant, then there is going to be a straight line instead of curves, and this line. So I may take this as something like a, this is going to be b, this is going to be c, this is going to be d. Now just simply replace this by a straight lines joining this point and this point. That means I'll be getting like this. Trapezoidal is like this. Instead of curves, you're going to have straight lines in this graph. Then you're normally going to get a trapezoidal function. So between b and c, you're going to have the value 1. And between a and b, it is going to change linearly. And between c and d, it is going to change linearly. So that is called a trapezoidal function for us. So I can define trapezoidal function accordingly, similar to the function that I've defined for the triangular function. So thereby I can just define the trapezoidal membership function. And next function is going to be the Gaussian membership function. So Gaussian membership function depends on what now? E to the power of minus 1 by 2 into x minus, this is the mean value, x minus mean value by variance value, whole to the power m. Okay, so where c is nothing but the center value called as a mean value, and s is nothing but the variance or a width of the function, and m is going to be a fuzzification factor. And we go more in depth once we really deal with these particular functionalities in depth. So as an example, we may take as c is equal to 5. If c is equal to 5, it is nothing but center. That means what? Mean value of this particular entire function. If this is the entire function, what is the mean value? Center value? Center value is 5. What is the variance? Variance is equal to 2. With respect to center value, variance is going to be 2. So up to 2 limits, we normally going to get the variance. And m is equal to 2. M is nothing but the factor of the falsification factor. We normally consider it as, and accordingly we can just simply draw this particular Gaussian distribution function. So based on the differences in the value, this Gaussian function is always going to vary for us. See, if the variance is decreased, then this particular curve has become narrower. If variance is increasing, this particular curve is becoming wider. So like this, as we change this variance value, the curve is normally going to change. As we change the parameters, the curve is normally going to vary. See here, M is changed here, M is changed here, the curve is normally going to vary based on the parameters. So like this, we normally define the membership functions by using the various functionalities like Gaussian function, trapezoidal function, and a triangular function. So with this, we'll stop our session here. In next section, we discuss the operations on the fuzzy set. So we have discussed about the operations of the classical set theory. While we're discussing about probability theory, similarly, we're going to have the fuzzy set operations. We discuss all of them in the next session. Thank you very much for the today's session.